There are trees in the high desert that no longer whisper. They cry, not with words, but with blood. The elders said this day would come, when the earth itself would weep for what humanity had done, when men would cut forests to build towers of smoke, and the roots beneath our feet would begin to mourn. They warned us. When the trees begin to bleed, the heart of the earth is breaking. Look around. The rivers are sick. The sky bleeds fire. And now, even the trees, the oldest guardians of this world, are crying red tears. This is not myth. It is memory. A warning carved into bark and time. The Navajo spoke of it. A sacred tree that would one day pour blood from its wounds. Not from an axe, but from sorrow. And when that happens, they said, the earth will call her children home. To choose. Repent or perish. I have walked beneath old trees that remember the first songs. Their roots reach deeper than memory. Their branches whisper names the wind still carries. But there came a night when the forest no longer sang. Only the sound of sap, slow and heavy, dripping like tears upon the earth. The elders said, listen well, my child. When the trees begin to bleed, the earth is crying. At first, I thought it was a tale to keep us kind, a story for restless hearts. But then I saw it. A cedar by the canyon wall, its trunk split open, red resin glimmering like fire in the moonlight. Not from an axe, not from storm, but from sorrow. The people came and stared in silence. Some said it was disease. Some said it was the sign. But the old woman who still spoke to the dawn said softly, no, it is us. The tree bleeds because we forgot how to pray. The prophecy was old, older than the oldest songs. It said, when men no longer honor the life that feeds them, when fire is taken from the earth faster than it can breathe, the trees will begin to weep red tears. Their blood will mark the end of an age. And so it began. In the north, pines leaked crimson sap that stained the snow. In the deserts, the mesquite oozed dark resin that smelled of smoke. The rivers carried that color downstream, as if the veins of the world were bleeding together. And the people? They built more towers, cut more forests, and burned the sky until the stars hid their faces. They said, it is only the way of progress. But the old ones knew. Progress without prayer is a wound that never heals. One night I sat beneath the oldest cottonwood on the ridge. I placed my palm on its bark. It felt warm, pulsing like the heartbeat of a living being. And I heard a whisper rise through the roots. Child of dust, we have carried your breath for ages. You were meant to sing with us, not cut the song short. I asked the spirit of the tree, why do you bleed if you are strong? The wind moved through its branches, and the answer came like thunder turned to whisper. Because strength without compassion turns to stone. Because when your kind kills for greed, our roots taste your pain. That night I dreamed. I saw forests burning like candles before a dark wind. I saw rivers thick with ash, mountains collapsing under the weight of silence. And from the center of it all, I saw a single tree standing, bleeding, its sap glowing red against the blackened sky. From its branches hung visions, men with iron hands, machines that devoured soil and bone, children born without laughter. When I woke, the air was still. Even the crickets had forgotten their song. I knew then the prophecy had begun. The elders gathered and spoke in low voices. They said, when the first tree bleeds, there is still hope. When the second weeps, the land begins to mourn. But when the third tree cries, the Great Spirit himself will rise from the horizon and shake the dust from the world. And now 3 have bled. In the east, lightning split the sacred oak. In the west, a sycamore burst red where it stood. In the south, the great pine by the river wept for 7 nights. The wind carried their sorrow to every direction. The people began to feel it too. Animals left their dens. The air thickened with silence. Dreams grew heavy with warning. And those who still listened to the heartbeat of the land heard one phrase repeating like distant thunder: "Kneel beneath the bleeding tree." Many ignored it. They said the age of spirits was past. But a few remembered. They went into the forests, laid their hands upon the wounded trunks, and prayed for forgiveness. The earth trembled softly, as if recognizing an old song. But the bleeding did not stop. The prophecy had one final verse, a verse rarely spoken, for it carried sorrow too deep for most hearts to hold. It said, "When man kneels only after the fire has taken all, his prayer will reach the sky, but the sky will already be weeping. This is the age we have entered. Children no longer know the sound of wind through pine. Cities breathe smoke instead of air, and the rivers taste of metal and forgotten dreams. Every act of cruelty carves another wound in the roots of the world. Every unkind word feeds the storm. I walk the desert now, where trees once stood like guardians. Their stumps rise from the sand like broken teeth. Sometimes I see one still weeping. Its resin shines like blood under the sun. And I whisper, 'Forgive us, we were blind.' But forgiveness is not easy. The earth remembers. The wind carries every echo of pain. The rain still falls, but it does not heal. The elders say there is one last hope, a prayer carried by the young. When a child who has never seen a forest plants a seed with tears in their eyes, the earth will listen again. But until that day, the trees will bleed quietly in the dark, their sorrow unseen, their warning unheard. I have seen this with my own eyes, and I have heard the voice within the roots say, 'We are not dead. We are waiting.' The sap that bleeds is not death. It is remembrance. So I tell you this prophecy not to frighten you, but to remind you. Every leaf that falls is a prayer unspoken. Every tree cut without gratitude is a tear shed by the earth. If you would honor the world again, walk softly, speak kindly, listen to the wind before you speak to man. And remember, the ground beneath your feet is alive. When you break it, it bleeds. When you heal it, it sings. But as for now, the song has turned to silence. The trees still bleed. The sky still mourns. And the prophecy waits, like a shadow before dawn, until humanity remembers the sacred heartbeat. The forest will cry red beneath the moon, and the earth will wear her sorrow in silence. The elders said, "When the trees bleed, the Creator is still giving us time. Time to remember who we are. Time to return to the sacred. But that time is not endless. Every drop of red sap that falls is a tear from the earth, a cry for mercy before the fire comes. We were told the trees would not stop weeping until the people fell to their knees in prayer, until hearts turned back to the Great Spirit. Maybe that's what this moment is, our final chance to listen, to heal what we've broken. So if you can feel this truth stirring in your soul, do not scroll away. Pause. Pray for the earth. Pray for the return of compassion, because when the last tree stops bleeding, a new world will begin. If you believe the warnings of the ancestors still speak today, share this message. Let their words be heard again. The earth remembers, and she is waiting for us to remember too.